At the company dinner, my Ice King boss had a little too much to drink. He threw his arms around me and started slurring drunkenly. "Baby, my PIN is 168658, there's $500 million in that account. My payment password is 990,203, my phone password is 980,980, and there's 50 grand in cash in my pants pocket." I've always been a sucker for money, but suddenly the air felt chilly. I really wanted to stick my hand in my boss's pocket to warm it up. But instead of cash, my fingers brushed against something big and hard. Is this right? The next second, my scheming boss grinned, pinning me against the bed. His eyes were cold, but his voice was a husky whisper. "Baby, how about we go all the way?" After I broke up with my boss, Joshua, I furiously quit and smoothly got a job at his biggest rival. I swore I'd work my butt off and crush that workaholic rich kid. But just 6 months in, I worked the rival company into bankruptcy, and it got bought out for cheap. The moment I heard the new owner's name from a coworker, I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. It was Joshua, the man I'd dumped. He's the type who always gets revenge. After I ghosted him out of nowhere, he was definitely going to make me pay. Terrified, I wrote up my resignation letter that night, planning to run for it again. The AC in the CEO's office was cranked up, sending a chill down my spine. "What's this? Quitting again?" Joshua, sitting in his black leather throne, slowly put down my resignation letter. He looked up, his face as stoic and criminally handsome as ever. I nodded guiltily. "Ha." Joshua's perfect brow furrowed. 3 years since graduation, 9 different jobs. What company would be blind enough to hire you now? The icy words came from his 98-degree mouth, a clear sign he was planning his revenge. I glanced at the bouquet of $1,000 roses behind him and sighed, deciding not to argue. When Joshua and I were dating, he never gave me flashy, impractical things like this. He'd just wire me the money. Now, only 6 months after our breakup, some other girl had already trained him to be a lavish playboy. Buying such expensive flowers for Valentine's Day. Sometimes I could just kill these rich people. Joshua followed my gaze. His cool voice held a strange hint of pride. "Like them?" I shook my head honestly. "Nope. What stupid flowers. They cost more than my annual salary. I wouldn't take them if they were $900. Besides, I had no interest in being the other woman. A good ex should act like they're dead." Hearing my answer, Joshua's posture stiffened. He slowly turned back to me and let out a cold, "Oh." Sensing the shift in atmosphere, I quickly tried to backtrack. "It's fine. It doesn't matter if I like them. As long as your girlfriend does." He looked down, a crack appearing in his cool facade. He looked a little heartbroken. "She doesn't like them." I was confused. "Then why'd you buy them? Too much money and nowhere to spend it?" "I just found out she doesn't." Joshua's cool, handsome eyes stared at me through his rimless glasses, a hint of grievance in his tone. Sigh. I never thought a workaholic like Joshua would actually take the time to learn what a girl likes. I guess real love really can melt a frozen heart. A strange sourness bubbled up inside me, but I still offered some friendly advice. "Don't force her to take them, and don't force her to do things she doesn't like. You'll just push her further away." The air was silent for a moment. Then Joshua suddenly asked, "What about you? What do you like? What do you hate?" I froze for a second, then forced a laugh and dodged the question. "I think work is boring, getting paid is boring, and working to get paid is also boring. But not working and still getting paid? That sounds amazing. That's why I'm quitting." Joshua sighed. He smoothly signed my resignation letter. "Whatever you want." I blinked. "What?" "Quit, stay, it's up to you." He handed the letter back to me. "The choice is yours." I numbly reached for it, my fingers accidentally brushing against his, which were slightly cool. Maybe it was my imagination. But Joshua's ears instantly turned bright red. TSK. It's been so long, but he's still so sensitive. Still, I breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed like Joshua wasn't planning on getting revenge after all. Turns out, the best way to get over a breakup is to start a new relationship. As I was packing up my desk, I could hear my coworkers whispering. Did you guys see the new memo from the CEO's office? Starting this week, we're working 2 days on, 2 days off. And a 50% raise for everyone. What? Are you serious? Totally. Check the group chat if you don't believe me. Oh my god, so I get 15 days off a month and make 30 grand? Long live the boss. My desk mate, Jessica, grabbed my arm excitedly, her face full of dreams. Mia, after you quit, I'm going to take your spot as the boss's assistant. The work is easy, the pay is high, and I'll have a front row seat to the main event. If I could land a guy like the boss, handsome, rich, and generous, I wouldn't mind driving a luxury car and living in a mansion one bit. Wait a minute. Since when was Joshua, that heartless capitalist, so generous? I whipped out my phone and scrolled through the work chat in disbelief. My heart sank. In this economy, a job with good pay, light work, lots of vacation, and a short commute was impossible to find. Suddenly, I really wanted to stay. Seriously. How could I let my pride get in the way of money? With that thought, I fished my ID badge out of a packing box, clipped it back around my neck, and shamelessly announced, "Who said I was quitting?" Jessica looked at me suspiciously. Mia, don't tell me you're staying to fight me for the boss? Afraid of exposing my history with Joshua, I quickly reassured her. Never. Even if every other man on earth dropped dead, I, Mia, would never. Ahem. From behind me. A familiar cough. The office fell silent. My coworkers looked like they were facing their doom. A terrible premonition washed over me. I stiffly turned around. And saw Joshua, hands in his pockets, standing right behind me. His chiseled, icy face was emotionless, but somehow, it was terrifying. To save my damn job, my brain went into overdrive. I, Mia, would never fight a coworker over a man. That would cause internal strife, hinder company growth, and affect the boss's profits. Hearing that, Joshua's tightly pressed lips curved into a slight smile. No work this afternoon. Company retreat. Mia, send out the notice. My brain short-circuited, and I blurted out, "Boss, a company retreat on Valentine's Day? Don't you need to be with your girlfriend?" Why? Joshua slowly closed the distance between us, his eyes cool. Does my assistant have a date today? I unconsciously clutched my sleeves and shrank back. No. No, but... I racked my brain for an excuse to skip the retreat. Joshua saw right through me and raised an eyebrow, threatening, "Anyone who doesn't show up this afternoon will be marked absent and have their pay docked." I have a strong suspicion Joshua deliberately planned this retreat on Valentine's Day to flaunt his new girlfriend in my face and humiliate me, the single dog. So, I deliberately chose a private room where Joshua wasn't present. When I went in, my coworkers were all playing Truth or Dare. I wanted to hide in a corner and eat fruit, but Jessica insisted I join them. As expected, my luck was as terrible as ever. I lost almost immediately. The dare I drew was, "Ask your ex to take you back." I picked up my glass of wine, ready to accept my fate. My coworkers started jeering. "You'd rather drink than call your ex? You hate him that much?" Heh, if I asked Joshua to take me back, wouldn't that make me the other woman? I don't do immoral things like that. I pursed my lips and joked, well, he wouldn't be my ex if I didn't hate him. The words had barely left my mouth when a pair of cool, large hands took the glass from me. "She's allergic to alcohol." "I'll take it." I looked up and met Joshua's deep gaze. My body went rigid. When did he get here? Did he hear what I just said? My co-workers were confused. Huh? How does the boss know me is allergic to alcohol? We didn't even know. Joshua glanced at me nonchalantly and said flatly, I'm her ex. At that, the room exploded. Everyone turned to stare at me, their eyes wide with gossip. My brain felt like it was going to short-circuit, but I was too guilty to deny it. Seeing how freaked out I was, Joshua's lips curved into a smirk. He said, slowly, ex. Boss. His tone was perfectly calm, without a hint of trying to hide anything. The gossipy stares finally dissipated. After all, no one in their right mind would think Joshua would be interested in me. I breathed a sigh of relief. He almost gave me a heart attack. While my co-workers were busy toasting Joshua, I slipped out of the room, planning to leave early. I'd already clocked in for the day. And Joshua never said we had to stay until the party was over. But just as I reached the club's entrance, I got a text. I opened it. It was from Joshua. Wait for me in the parking lot. I'm drunk, can't drive. You're taking me home. Seriously? He's drunk after a few glasses. I used to go with him to meet clients, and he could drink anyone under the table. Has his alcohol tolerance gone down? I tactfully refused. Where's your girlfriend? Why can't she take you? Joshua. I've only ever had one girlfriend. I stared at the message, not quite understanding what he meant. A second later, he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. $52,000 for your trouble. I quickly replied. Your chariot awaits, my liege. I struggled to haul a very drunk Joshua from the passenger seat to his front door. He was draped all over my back. I reached out to activate the villa's keypad and asked, panting, what's the password? The words were barely out of my mouth when I suddenly felt the weight on my back disappear. I turned my head and saw Joshua standing perfectly straight behind me. Facial recognition successful. Door unlocked. The next thing I knew, my world went dark as Joshua pulled me into a tight embrace. Baby, my PIN is 168658, there's $500 million in that account. My payment password is 990,203, my phone password is 980,980, and there's $50,000 in cash in my pants pocket. As I was trying to process his little wealth flex, a pair of hands wrapped around my waist. Joshua swept me up into his arms. Before I could even react, he'd carried me to the bed in a few long strides. He pressed down on top of me, his voice a low, seductive whisper. Baby, the money's in my pocket. Why don't you get it yourself? Then, without waiting for an answer, he grabbed my hand and guided it into his pants pocket. My mind went blank. My greedy instincts took over, and I numbly let him guide my hand. But instead of cash, my fingers brushed against something big and hard. Is this right? I tried to pull my hand back in terror, but Joshua held it fast. Baby, a tool gets rusty if you don't use it for a while. Be a good girl and help me polish it. So big. So hot. I shook my head frantically, my face burning. He smirked, wedging his leg between my knees. His eyes were cold, but his voice was a husky whisper. Then how about I take you all the way, baby? His hot breath drew closer, his chiseled face filling my vision. He nibbled on my ear, his breath catching. Baby, all the money is yours. Just take off my glasses for me, okay? My fingertips trembled. Ugh, I'd been trapped by a capitalist. The next second, Joshua cupped my face and kissed me. In the tangle of our breath, a cell phone suddenly started ringing. Cha-ching. Money, money, money. Must be funny. In a rich man's world. I snapped back to reality and pushed Joshua off me. His eyes were rimmed with a frustrated red, a watery film over them. He looked completely unsatisfied. I glanced at the screen. It was my mom. Worried it was an emergency, I quickly answered. Mia, where the hell are you? You're not home from work yet? Mrs. Lee's son has been waiting for you all night. I was completely baffled. Leo? He's back. Why is he waiting for me? For a date? Weren't you the one who was obsessed with him all through school? I was speechless. That was years ago. I haven't liked him in forever. And he doesn't like me. Can you please stop playing matchmaker? Leo and I were neighbors who grew up together. The difference was, he was always the golden boy. Good looking, great grades, super smart, the big man on campus. I, on the other hand, had average grades, average smarts, and was completely invisible in a crowd. All my homework was copied from his. Right before the SATs, I shamelessly used our childhood friend's status to give Leo a love letter. But the next day, that letter ended up in the dean's hands. I was publicly reprimanded, suspended for 2 months, and only allowed back on campus the day of the test. Everyone laughed at me for punching so far above my weight. That night, I blocked Leo on everything, buried my head under the covers, and cried all night. I begged my mom to transfer me to another school and we moved. I swore I would never like Leo again. Never. After graduation, Leo went to Stanford on a full ride, and I went to a decent state school. We never spoke again. Don't be so ungrateful. The man graduated from Stanford with a computer science degree. He's successful, a tech prodigy. How is he not good enough for you? My mom got more and more worked up, her voice rising. Your job is unstable, you can't even find a boyfriend. You're going to end up an old maid with no one. Are you planning to live off me for the rest of your life? Something in my head snapped, and I blurted out, who says no one wants me? I have a boyfriend. My mom froze, then shrieked, what boyfriend? Where did this boyfriend come from? I'm warning you, don't you dare get involved with some good-for-nothing guy. I was about to argue, when Joshua took the phone from my hand. Hello, ma'am. Who is this? I'm Mia's good-for-nothing boyfriend. We were just about to head over to see you. With that, he hung up. I stared at him in horror. What do you think you're doing? Joshua raised an eyebrow, his voice casual. Nothing. Just going to make things official. I sighed in frustration. Can you please stop being so childish? Joshua's eyes narrowed, a warning glint in them. What? Are you still carrying a torch for that Leo guy? As I nervously opened my front door, I walked right into a solid chest. I looked up into Leo's dark, handsome face. He stared at Joshua behind me, his expression unreadable. Aren't you going to introduce us? I instinctively took a step back, about to speak. But Joshua took my hand, as if declaring ownership. I'm Mia's husband. Afraid of what he was about to say, I quickly cut him off. Boss. This is my boss, Joshua. Leo's eyes dropped to our intertwined hands. He let out a cold laugh. I see a lot of small companies in this country have pretty loose policies. Even allowing office romances. Excuse me? What's with the passive-aggressive tone? My company is a Fortune 500, how is that small? Just as the atmosphere turned awkward, my mom came out of the kitchen with a plate of food, smiling from ear to ear. You must be Mia's boyfriend. Come in, have a seat. Dinner's almost ready. A complete 180 from her attitude on the phone. Clearly, she was very pleased with Joshua's credentials. Joshua's eyes narrowed as he looked at Leo. He then turned to my mom and asked, Ma'am, and this is? My mom laughed awkwardly. Oh, this is Mia's older brother. They grew up together, they're practically siblings. Joshua smirked. Ah, so he's my future brother-in-law. Leo's face instantly darkened. Wait, was I smelling a hint of cattiness? Mom, did you make tea? My mom shot me a look. Who drinks tea this late? You'll never get to sleep, and how are you supposed to work tomorrow? During dinner, Leo's mom, Mrs. Lee, started nagging him about getting married. Mia's already brought a boyfriend home. When are you going to bring a girlfriend home? My mom immediately chimed in. That's right, Leo. You're 28 this year, you should be thinking about marriage. Is there anyone you like? Back when you and Mia were in school, you had girls lining up from the school gates to your front door. You didn't like a single one of them? Leo's gaze flickered over to me. He answered calmly, there was one. I nearly choked on my food. No wonder he was so angry today. He was pissed that our moms forced him to come home for a Valentine's Day setup with me, interrupting his date with his girlfriend. Joshua patted my back to help me catch my breath, then smiled at Leo. Well then, Mia and I would like to wish our future brother-in-law and his bride to be a lifetime of happiness. Future brother-in-law? Bride-to-be? Leo suddenly scoffed. Why don't you wait until you and Mia are actually married before you start calling me that? My mom tapped my bowl with her chopsticks, seizing the opportunity. Your brother's right. When are you and Joshua planning on getting married? Before I could say anything, Joshua, looking triumphant, wrapped an arm around my shoulder and answered coolly, Ma'am, Mia and I have already talked about it. As soon as you give us your blessing, we'll go get the license tomorrow. Leo's body went rigid. My mom was overjoyed. The sooner the better. Getting married early is a good thing. I looked at Joshua, confused. Seriously? He was willing to spout such nonsense just to one-up Leo? I couldn't hold it in. When did I? Joshua leaned in close, his voice a whisper only I could hear. Do you still want the money or not? As heaven is my witness. It's not that I wanted to lie. It's that I truly cannot bring myself to disrespect money. I immediately changed my tune, my gaze as determined as if I were taking an oath. I can get married whenever. It's all up to you. At that, Leo suddenly stood up, his voice tight with anger. I'm full. You all enjoy. My mom was baffled. What's with him today? He's acting like he swallowed a firecracker. Who set him off? He's never like this. Mrs. Lee gave an awkward laugh. Who knows? Don't worry about him. Let's just eat. I could guess with my eyes closed. Leo was obviously afraid they were going to pressure him about marriage next, just like they did with me, so he made a tactical retreat. After Leo left, the mood at the table lightened considerably. My mom and Mrs. Lee teamed up, interrogating Joshua like they were running a background check. Family, work history, relationship history, they covered it all. The more my mom asked, the more pleased she was. So when Joshua played the sympathy card, telling my mom he'd taken a few drinks for me and couldn't drive home, she didn't hesitate to push me into his car to take him home. But as soon as we got to his villa, I got a friend request from Leo. Before I could even react, Joshua snatched my phone and hit accept. The next second, a message from Leo popped up. Mia, it was my mom who gave your letter to the dean. After you moved, she wouldn't give me your new address. I couldn't contact you. I was afraid to defend you at school because I thought getting in trouble for dating would mess up my scholarship applications for the US. I was young and stupid, I thought my grades were the most important thing in the world. Is it too late to say I'm sorry? A rich kid like Joshua doesn't get to choose who he marries. You two aren't a good match. But I can choose. I haven't dated anyone all these years, and my mom is finally okay with us being together. Mia, if you're willing, I promise I won't cause any trouble with Joshua before you two officially break up. I swear. I froze. Was Leo trying to be the other man? The person he'd liked all along? Was me? Two guys at once. It didn't sound so bad. As I was lost in my fantasy, Joshua, without a moment's hesitation, replied for me. Got it, bro. Leo instantly lost it and started calling, one after another. Joshua just smirked, declined the calls, and pulled me onto the sofa, his gaze dark and intense. What are you thinking about, wifey? A shiver went down my spine. I tried to play it cool. And nothing. Liar. You deserve to be punished. Thinking about another man while you're with me. That deserves an even bigger punishment. Joshua's long, graceful fingers unbuttoned his white shirt, one by one. He leaned over me, pulling my hand to his chest. His powerful pecs rose and fell with his breathing. Me or Leo, who's hotter? My brain, short-circuited by the sheer beauty in front of me, answered on autopilot. You. Joshua's lips curved into a smile. He sent a voice memo to Leo, his tone cocky. Hear that, bro? My wife says I'm way hotter than you. It's getting late, my wife and I are going to bed. Please stop harassing us. With that, he blocked Leo and turned off his phone. I finally snapped out of it, stammering, You seduced me. That's not fair. Joshua grabbed my waist, pulling me into his lap, his voice low. A husband seducing his wife. It's the law of the land. The next second, his warm lips were on mine, his cool hands slipping under my dress. I couldn't stop trembling. As our breath mingled, Joshua's eyes were flushed red. He guided my hand lower, his voice a husky plea. My sweet Mia, help me, please. My hands shaking, I gripped him tightly. I don't know how much time passed before a satisfied groan rumbled in my ear. Face burning, I was about to get up to wash my hands, when Joshua suddenly wrapped his arms around me from behind. His voice was hoarse. Baby, it's not enough. This man. Where does he get all this energy? Doesn't he ever get tired? That night, my throat was raw from screaming. The next morning, I was slumped over my desk, trying to catch up on sleep, my eyes shadowed with dark circles. As usual, my coworkers were gathered around, chattering away. Hey, did you guys see the scratch marks on the boss's neck? That's not all. I smelled women's perfume on him. It felt so familiar, like I've smelled it somewhere before. Damn it. Who is she? Snagging a snack like that on the sly, and such a gourmet one. I can't even imagine. If I could get my hands on a hot, stoic guy like the boss, I'd be the happiest girl in the world. Jessica shook me awake. Mia, did you ever see the boss's girlfriend at your last company? Is she prettier than me? I weakly shook my head, my voice hoarse. Never saw her. You're prettier. Another coworker saw my pale face and gasped. Mia, you look awful. Are you sick? Should you go to the hospital? I mumbled back, half asleep, I'm fine, just. My stomach hurts, my legs are a little weak, my back is sore. The words had barely left my mouth when I jolted, my foggy brain instantly clearing. I looked up and met the probing gazes of my coworkers. Jessica leaned in suspiciously and sniffed me. Oh my God, the perfume on the boss smells exactly like the one Mia is wearing. It dawned on them. Holy crap, it's true. And come to think of it, the boss took a drink for Mia last night. No way, is Mia actually the boss's ex? They looked like they'd just stumbled upon the scoop of the century. Their faces were a mixture of wanting to gossip more and being too afraid to. My heart pounded. I immediately issued a 3-part denial. I didn't, don't spread rumors. I just have an upset stomach from last night's dinner. Excuse me, I need to use the restroom. I clutched my stomach, ready to make a run for it. But as I turned, I ran right into a broad chest. Joshua's brow was furrowed as he stared down at my pale face. You're not feeling well? Why didn't you tell me? Before I could say a word, right there in front of everyone, he swept me up into his arms. I'm taking you to the hospital. I wanted to refuse. But a sharp, cramping pain shot through my lower abdomen. I didn't have the strength to struggle, so I just let Joshua carry me out of the office. My coworkers were dead silent. My big mouth. I really shot myself in the foot this time. Ms. Lin is suffering from indigestion. She needs to rest, avoid strenuous activity, and take her medication. She'll be fine in no time. After giving his instructions, the doctor left to check on other patients. I breathed a sigh of relief. I was worried I'd ruptured something after how intense last night was. Thank God. That would have been mortifying. Joshua knelt by my hospital bed, gently taking my wrist. His handsome face was etched with a hint of grievance. When are you going to make me an honest man? A day? 2 days? A week? 2 weeks? We can't keep this a secret forever, can we? Am I that embarrassing to be seen with? I was on the verge of tears. Do I even need to? The rumors about us are probably all over the company by now. If you don't want them to spread, no one will dare to. Joshua's face had darkened, but he was reining in his temper. His aura grew colder. But can you at least tell me why? You were the one who pursued me first, and you were the one who dumped me out of the blue. We dated for less time than you spent chasing me. Did you just want to sleep with me and not take responsibility? Or are you still hung up on Leo? Are you planning to dump me and get back with him? At the mention of Leo, his voice took on a sharp, dangerous edge. I flinched, my voice full of hurt. You were the one with the arranged marriage. I didn't dare say the rest out loud. I never thought he and I could ever get married. Just like Leo said. The gap between our families was just too vast. A bouquet of flowers he bought on a whim was my entire annual salary. I didn't want to go public at the company because I didn't want to lose a fantastic job on the same day my heart got broken. Arranged marriage? Joshua frowned. Since when am I getting married, and to whom? I couldn't hold it in anymore and just let it all out. The paparazzi caught you shopping for diamond rings with the heiress of the S Corporation. It was in all the gossip magazines. There's evidence. How long were you planning on lying to me? And those $1,000 roses in your office? Weren't they for her? After my outburst, Joshua, who had been scowling, suddenly burst out laughing. So you were jealous? I scoffed. I just didn't want to be the other woman. You broke up with me over this little thing? Joshua reached out and pinched my cheek, his smile growing wider. If you're jealous, just admit it. It's not embarrassing to be jealous of my sister. Daisy is my full-blooded sister. She took my mom's last name. The S Corporation is my mom's company. My future brother-in-law was too busy to go ring shopping with my sister, so I reluctantly went with her. She was the one who suggested I buy you the roses. When you said you didn't like them, I had them thrown out. But I looked down. What do you even like about me? Compared to Joshua, I was a nobody. Average job, average family, average abilities. Why would he like me? Is it just because you took a drink from me from a client, and I shamelessly confessed to you? Joshua laughed as if I'd told the funniest joke in the world. Do you think you were the only one who ever chased me? I shook my head. Joshua came from an extraordinary background. He was the center of attention everywhere he went. He was handsome, young, and successful. His eyes were so soulful he could make a dog fall in love with him. Of course I wasn't the only one. I was even more confused. Exactly. You could have any girl you want. Why me? Instead of answering, Joshua cradled the back of my head, leaned in, and kissed me until I was breathless and gasping for air. Then he let me go. You want to know? He raised an eyebrow. Marry me, and I'll tell you. I was still thinking it over. When Joshua pulled a black card out of his pocket and pressed it into my hand. His low voice was laced with a mesmerizing charm. There's $500 million on this card. I told you the pin yesterday. So, can you accept my proposal now? My brain just stopped. Wait, he was really giving me $500 million? I wouldn't even dare to burn that much fake money for my ancestors. $500 million in the bank. The annual interest alone would be $15 million. That's over $1.2 million a month, or $40,000 a day. A single day's interest was more than my monthly salary. Damn these evil capitalists. I don't know if it was greed or lust, but I nodded uncontrollably. Joshua pulled me into his arms. You said yes. No take-backs. When my mom and Joshua's parents sat down to discuss our wedding, the rich-in-laws versus poor commoners showdown I'd imagined never happened. The atmosphere was surprisingly harmonious. In fact, Joshua's parents were even more eager than mine. Why don't you two just go get the license today? Great idea. No time like the present. Before I could even speak, my mom eagerly agreed. Joshua, who had been quiet the whole time, turned his dark, intense eyes to me. What do you think? I forced a smile, unable to come up with a reason to say no, and just nodded. And just like that, it was settled. It felt like a dream. Who gets this? I just wanted a one-night stand with my boss and a clean getaway. Now I was well and truly trapped. The trip to the courthouse was surprisingly smooth. All I had to do was follow Joshua's lead. Before I knew it, a little red booklet was in my hands. You know, my mom has only met you twice. How did she agree to let me marry you so quickly? A playful smile touched Joshua's lips. His voice was lazy. Probably because I'm obviously a catch. That still doesn't make sense. I read in novels that rich families like yours are all about arranged marriages. How did your parents agree to let you marry me? Joshua, who was driving, glanced over at me with a half smile. Because you're pretty amazing yourself. I knew he was just trying to sweet-talk me. I don't believe you. Oh, by the way. Joshua's lips curved. Can you add my brother-in-law back? I need to send him a picture of our marriage license. When we got to the office building, Joshua said he had an errand to run and told me to go up ahead. But before I even walked through the door, I heard Jessica leading the charge, spreading rumors about me. I told you all Mia was faking that innocent act, right? Look at her, what a slut. The second she climbs into the boss's bed, she can't wait to show it off. The boss is practically engaged. It was in the news that he was shopping for diamond rings with the heiress. And Mia still has the gall to publicly announce their thing. She's probably just trying to force his hand, trying to secure her spot as the other woman. Another coworker, unable to listen anymore, weakly defended me. But maybe the boss and the heiress broke up. They're both single, it's normal for them to date. Jessica immediately shot her down. What man would break up with the sole heiress of the S Corporation for Mia? Mia obviously used some shady tricks to seduce the boss, and when she realized he was just playing with her, she pretended to slip up in front of us to force him to acknowledge her. I took out my phone, started a recording, and calmly walked into the office. When Jessica saw me, her face changed instantly. She put on an innocent, smiley facade. Mia, I was just kidding. You're not mad, are you? I was just a little curious. How exactly did you hook up with the boss? I looked Jessica up and down. Why? Are you so curious because you want to be the other woman and seduce my husband? Jessica choked, her pretty face turning beet red. Your husband? She said, defiantly. You've got some nerve for a homewrecker. Just wait until the real heiress shows up. Then you'll see what happens to women like you. I raised my hand and slapped her across the face. I'll show you right now what happens to women who covet other people's husbands and want to be the other woman. Jessica, furious, clutched her face and was about to lunge at me when Joshua appeared out of nowhere. He blocked her, grabbing her wrist and shoving her to the ground. He looked down at her, his voice ice cold. Apologize to my wife. Then pack your things and get out. We don't need a troublemaker who does nothing but spread rumors. The color drained from Jessica's face. She crawled to my feet, sobbing and begging. I am sorry, Mia, I was wrong. Please, talk to the boss for me, let me stay. I really need this job. I shut her down immediately. Not a chance. I'm not stupid enough to turn the other cheek. Joshua shot her a disgusted look, then pulled me close. He faced all the other employees. Let me make something clear. My wife and I are legally married. She is my one and only legal wife. As for the heiress, she is my sister. Same mother, same father. From now on, if I hear any of you say one more word about my wife, you can place your resignation letter on my desk yourself. The office fell silent. Then, Joshua eagerly pulled me into his office. He took a diamond ring out of his pocket, bigger than a pigeon's egg, and slid it onto my finger, explaining, "I'm sorry, baby. I was in a hurry to buy you a ring. I'm sorry you had to deal with that." I asked, completely ruining the mood, "How much did this cost?" Joshua looked a little nervous, as if he was afraid I wouldn't like it. $500,000. It was the most expensive one they had in stock nearby. If you think it's too small, we can go order a bigger one tomorrow. I was speechless. You spent $500,000 on this stupid rock? You might as well have just deposited the money into my account. The next second, I watched as Joshua transferred another $5 million to my debit card. Bank of America. Your account ending in 8258 received a deposit of $5 million.00 on June 15 at 14:30. Your current available balance is $5,012,360.08. I was completely stunned. Wait, is your money just, like, Monopoly money? That night when we got home, Joshua took a photo of me out of his nightstand. To be precise, it was my high school photo. In the picture, I was wearing my blue and white summer uniform, clutching a crumpled piece of paper. My bright, pretty face was scrunched up, clearly trying not to cry. The photo was taken on the day everyone was making fun of me for having a crush on Leo, calling me shameless. At that moment, I was holding back my tears, arguing with them, asking why liking someone made me shameless. I looked at Joshua, confused. Where did you get this? Joshua's eyes burned into mine. The day you were giving your public apology, I was back at our old high school to give a talk about the SATs. I secretly took this picture. You were surrounded by your classmates, being bullied. You wanted to cry but you held it in, arguing with them so logically. In that moment, with the sunlight on your face, I had only one thought: I wonder how beautiful you would be when you cry. I got a teacher for you. I didn't want to mess up your exams, so I waited until after you graduated to look for you, but you'd already transferred. Until the day your resume landed on my desk. I cut him off in disbelief. So it was love at first sight? This was all premeditated? Joshua didn't answer. Instead, he pinned me beneath him, breathing hotly in my ear. Baby, I found out later. You're truly beautiful when you cry. Especially when you're crying and begging for mercy. It's explosive. Not wanting to ruin the mood, I wrapped my arms around his neck and feigned innocence. Explosive? What explodes? Joshua leaned in and kissed me, his voice a low growl. Everything. You'll see.